Have you ever watched a firework display and just wondered, how do they get all those amazing colors? Well, today we're going to dive deep into the chemistry behind it by tackling a real GCSE exam question. We'll break it down piece by piece and look at exactly what the mark scheme wants, so you can see what a perfect answer really looks like.
Okay, let's get right into it. The colors of chemistry. This first part of the question is all about how we identify different metal ions, which, as you've probably guessed, is the secret behind those firework colors. It all starts with a classic technique, the flame test.
So here's our first question. Super straightforward, 1 mark. What color flame would sodium ions produce? This is just a pure memory test. You either know it or you don't. So, what do you think?
To get that 1 mark, the mark scheme is looking for one simple word, yellow. Yep, that's the classic textbook answer for sodium. But, and this is where it gets interesting, what if you saw something slightly different in the lab?
Well, here's a great little tip. Examiners know that in a real experiment, colors can be a bit subjective. So for this one, they'll also give you the mark for orange or orange-yellow. It just goes to show how exams try to reflect what you might actually see for yourself.
All right, on to the next one. This time the question is flipped. They give you the color, green, and you have to name the metal ion that makes it. Again, it's a 1-mark memory test. Got one in mind?
And for this one, you've actually got options. The mark scheme says you can have either copper ion or barium ion. And notice they'll also accept the chemical symbols, Cu2+ or Ba2+. Just one of those is all you need for the full mark.
Okay, so the questions are getting a bit more thoughtful now. We're moving away from just remembering facts to understanding why things happen. So, if you've got a firework with a mix of chemicals, why is the flame test suddenly not so useful?
The absolute key idea here, the one the examiners are looking for, is that the colors get masked. Think about it. That really bright, intense yellow from sodium can just completely overpower a fainter color from another metal. The mark scheme also says you could use words like the colors mix or blend. Basically, it's a colorful mess.
So if a simple flame test isn't good enough for mixtures, what is? Well, we need a much more powerful tool. And that brings us to our next section, decoding the spectra, using a technique called flame emission spectroscopy.
Whoa, okay, what we're looking at here are the unique spectral fingerprints for a bunch of different metal ions. Then, at the bottom, we've got the spectrum from our mystery mixture. For 2 marks, we need to figure out which 2 of those ions are in there. So how on earth do we do that?
It's actually like a matching game. You have to play detective. Let's take the first one, Li+, lithium. See its pattern of black lines? Now look down at the mixture. Every single one of those lines is there. It's a perfect match. Let's do the same for Na+, sodium. Trace its lines down, and yep, another perfect match. But if you try that with calcium, you'll see it has lines that are totally missing from the mixture.
And so, based on our detective work, we know for a fact that the 2 metal ions in our firework mixture are lithium and sodium. That's a solid, evidence-based answer for a clean 2 marks.
Fantastic. We've totally nailed the metal ions. But you know, fireworks aren't just metals. So now, the question shifts gears. We're on to identifying other ions, specifically non-metals, using different kinds of chemical tests.
Okay, here's the setup. A scientist adds 2 chemicals, silver nitrate and nitric acid, to a sample from the firework. Suddenly, a cream-colored solid appears. That solid is called a precipitate, and its specific color is the big clue here. It points to a particular type of ion.
And for this test, the mark scheme is crystal clear. A cream precipitate means one thing and one thing only. You've got bromide ions, or Br-. If it had been a white solid, it would be chloride, yellow would be iodide. But for cream, it's got to be bromide.
And here we are at the final part. It's a 3-marker, which is great because it means there are more points up for grabs. And look, the question tells you exactly what to do. First, describe the test for sulfate ions, and second, give the result. You've got to do both to get all 3 marks.
So here it is, the perfect 3-mark answer. For the test, you'd say you add some barium chloride solution along with some hydrochloric acid. That acid is really important. It gets rid of anything else that might interfere. And for the result, you'll see a white precipitate form. That white solid is barium sulfate. And just so you know, the mark scheme says using barium nitrate and nitric acid would be fine too.
Okay, let's just pause for a second and think about what we've just done. That was one single question from an exam paper, but look at all the different things it made us do. So what are the key takeaways from mastering this question?
Seriously,
Just by working through this one problem, you've shown you can do so much. You've recalled facts about flame tests and precipitates. You've shown you understand the limits of a scientific test. You've interpreted data from a spectrum. And you've laid out the steps for a full chemical test. It's like a complete analytical chemistry workout.
The big idea here is that when you know how to break down a question and you understand what examiners are looking for, you can apply these skills to pretty much anything. We've seen that from the simple color of a flame to the complex lines of a spectrum, light is packed with hidden information. It really makes you wonder, what other invisible information is hiding in the light all around us?